All right, today we're gabbing with Michols and Lake from Southern Hospitality, which is currently having a fantastic banger of a third season. They are the two new faces on the scene. I'm really excited to talk with them. Lake and Michols, thanks for being here. How's it going?
Thank
Good,
you
how
for
are
having
you? Yeah,
us.
thank you for having us.
How are you feeling? I mean, we're 4 episodes into this season. It's again, you guys wasted no time getting into it, but this is all new for you guys.
Boots on the ground, ready for work.
Okay.
It's the
Yes.
best way I could put
Yes.
it.
I feel really good about this season. I feel like it's getting better and better each episode.
Yeah,
So
it's a good intro season, I feel like, for us.
Definitely, definitely. And you're both on the younger side of this group too. And I'm curious for you, how long have you both been around this group of people? And when did, or like were you in the mix in season 2, we just didn't see you, or are you guys really new to the Republic scene?
So I came at the very end of filming season 2.
Okay.
Before that, I had always been friends with Maddie. I knew her because of one of my roommates dated Trevor's best friend.
Right.
So I was always around them. And so I was also working in the nightlife scene at a different venue. Later on, the summer came by. After the summer, I was just kind of looking for a change of pace. I honestly didn't really know about the TV show, and I just applied at Republic. And yeah, it just kind of happened that way. And then a few months
Wow.
later, they were like, hey, we want you on the show. And I was like, oh, and they were like, you don't really get an option. So come on. And I was like, okay,
Okay.
sign
Okay.
me up.
Lake.
So yeah.
so with me, I was friends with Michaels before we would kiki together.
Wow.
And then I started working at Republic and it was fun. I loved it, and then I became close with a little bit of everybody, and so I got the opportunity to do the show and decided to say yes. And I think it's been good.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like it's been
it has
a
been.
wild ride, honestly, but I feel like it's been good overall.
So how did you two initially meet if you knew before this whole
Well, we
thing?
had mutual friends, and I went to college at Charleston, and so does he. So it's
Wait,
just Charleston's a small town, so you just
Yeah.
know everybody.
um, there was like this one night I was working at Republic like 2 weeks before Lake started working.
I was like, "You're
And
so beautiful."
yeah, she was like, you're so beautiful. And I was
I was
like,
like, "You're so hot."
and I was like, oh, thanks, girl, I'm gay. Like, but we can be besties. And then she was like, when do you get off work? Let's hang out. I'm not kidding. We went to an after party until 4 in the morning. We went to cookout after the after
And
party.
then
And like, we
and
were just,
waited until Dunkin' Donuts opened the next day.
yeah, at 6
Like,
in the morning.
at
We were
6 in the
just
morning.
up.
Yeah,
But
we were
yeah,
like,
it was the best time ever. We were just like listening to music in the car. And she was like, what do you like to listen to? I was like, SZA, Doja
and I
Cat,
was like,
Kanye
okay,
West. And she literally was like, wait. And she literally, same music tasted everything. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh my God, this is like,
yes.
Meant to
Michael's is
be.
my twin. Literally,
yeah, we're literally twins. Yeah.
our birthdays are 2 weeks apart.
I mean, yeah, well, I guess you both have already had birthday parties 4 episodes
Mhm.
into your first season on
Mhm.
reality TV, which is not a bad gig, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into you both have some love life spotlight happening on this
Oh.
season so far. Michaels, you and TJ came into this season with like a bit of like a weird history. You were a bit frustrated by the mixed signals that he was giving you. You have your birthday party, you get emotional after that. TJ buys you coffee and it's very controversial.
Coffee.
um
Coffee
when
crashed out.
when did you officially get to a point with one another where you were like, all right, we're just friends?
I think it was really the nail salon scene.
It was then. Okay.
Yeah, that's really when we just like solidified it. My birthday happened. Um, I made out with somebody at my birthday, had a great time. After that, I was just like, there's no really going back. I feel like also you kind of showed me everything you needed to show me for me to know that you're not my person. Um, Also, it just wouldn't have ended up working out realistically. I'm your boss.
Yeah,
It just would have
there's
been
that.
weird for our friend group too, even though everybody was
I'm your
pushing it for
boss.
so long, and then it finally happened, and then it was like, you know when you go to do something and everybody's like cheering, and then it doesn't happen, everybody's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Got it.
So Yeah, since then I've been gifted multiple Starbucks gift cards, but
There we go. It's the gift that keeps
yeah,
on giving. Lake,
yeah.
as one of Michael's best friends, what did you make of the whole situation between him and TJ? Because I feel like we didn't get much of your commentary on the show. Okay, we're
What did
cracking
I
up
think
about
of
it.
it?
Okay.
Well, I tell Michaels this all the time. I'm just like, you are empowered, you are intelligent, you have so much going for you. You're literally running this club at 21, 22 years old. So you need to, find somebody that meets your requirements and find somebody that's on your level. Not saying that TJ is not on his level, but they are at different points in their life.
Yeah.
And so I was never really like a pusher of
Yeah,
TJ.
she wasn't a big TJ fan.
Okay.
I was a pusher of Preston. The second I met Preston, I was like, honey, you need to get on that. Get on that vanilla
And
ice
he
cream.
did, and Michaels did get. We saw that
But
at the
Proves that you can have your cake and eat it too.
yes.
literally.
Yes.
Okay.
But honestly, I think Michaels is one of the most intelligent, level-minded people that I know. And so anything that he decides, I'm going to be supportive of. And I'm going to be like, okay, I get that. I understand that. And so,
Thank you.
yeah.
Very nice. Lake, we see you and Brad hit it off, and I feel like you guys have
Not the rules.
a pretty I really think you have fun chemistry. Like I think that like they're I like
Spicy.
yeah, it's good. And that being said, you both get to your lake house and like you're both kind of playing it coy, and you say that you never are going to make the first move. He says in his confessional that him asking you on a date is the first move and that now the ball's in your court. What do you make of him saying that?
I don't think we're playing the same game.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think we're playing the same game if he thinks that taking me out on one date is making a move. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm bougie. No. Honestly,
I
all
don't think
women
so.
should, expect they should have certain expectations, and those expectations were not met from one little date. What do you expect from me? Like, I'm not a thirsty hoe.
Okay. So are we at a stalemate right now between you and Brett? Like, are we gonna see it progress, or are we really at kind of like a stoppage because
You'll
nobody
just
wants to
have
make
to
the move?
wait and watch and see. I think that me and Brad's relationship is like, I could speak for myself right now. We are at a very good place. He's a good person. I'm a good person. And we're both,
Good people.
good people.
Just vibing, living life.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess it is a wait and see. So, hey, conversely, Michaels, we got Lake's feedback on you and TJ. What is your feedback on her and Brad?
Her and Brad is something that I pushed for the longest time.
Okay.
The second she got there, I was like, ooh, I know Brad's gonna like this one. Okay, like, come on, look at
Everybody likes me.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, Brad. And Brad was just like, just trying to tiptoe, and usually he's full force and like ready to go. But he was like taking it easy and smooth sailing, but Lake also would give in and then 2-1 in. It was like 3 steps in, 1 foot out. And it was just like back and forth. And I was just like, oh, when are you guys gonna give up and stop playing games? And there was a moment, but you just have to wait and see.
All right, we're waiting, we're seeing. Okay.
Yeah.
Michaels, switching gears a little bit. This part also in this episode, we see the Joe Bradley and TJ thing continue to sort of play out. It becomes to be continued, so we don't fully know like where the conversation goes between them.
Mm-hmm.
But you and TJ were close for a while, either or still are close. What did you know about that whole situation? Like, what had TJ told you? Had you heard from other people about it? Because it sounds like people sort of had all heard different things, I guess.
I mean, this is something that majority of the group has known for a while. It just was never talked about. I don't know. It's kind of hard to play devil's advocate with the situation because it's not something you handle. I mean, it's something you handle lightly, I would say. I don't know. It's just it's definitely a really tricky situation. Um, it's also one that a lot of us don't talk about because it's not our story to tell, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
I
I
guess
would say, like,
yeah.
TJ's one of my best friends. Joe's like a brother to me. So it's very hard to be, I feel like you can just tell from the season I'm a little bit of a mediator and I'm kind of almost in the middle of everything. So it's definitely a sticky situation to be in. I don't know, but I'm glad it's finally come time to where they've had the conversation about it. So I'm honestly looking forward to see where it goes too.
Being in the middle of it, can you say like whose side of it you believe more? Because like they both represent that situation differently.
Whose side you on?
I'm not necessarily on a side because I'm biased when it comes to both conversations. There are things about Joe's side that I agree with and I don't agree with, but there's it goes the same hand in hand with TJ.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way I could put it.
Okay. So switching gears to another thing that's definitely going down right now, which is the Emmy and Will of it all. And so, Lake, you're one of the first people at the dinner at your house where we see Emmy storm out. You're one of the first people that you're like, that's not what I heard when Emmy shares what Will had told her about what he said about her. What exactly did you hear? Is it the same as what TJ kind of conveyed for the group?
Yeah, it's the same thing what everybody else was hearing, that that he was saying that she was anorexic, that she works out too much, that she is only involved in herself, that he feels like he can't have a conversation with her. Like, I heard all of it, and the second I heard all of that, I was like, and that, like, my man would never. My man, we would be done. Even if there was a rumor about him, I would be done with him.
I'm the same kind of way.
Like, no.
I don't care for the cheating rumor you
Zero
talk
tolerance.
about me.
Even if you said it drunk, too.
If you did anything to give somebody an inch to even have an idea or anything, there's no question I'm not doing it.
And it was like random people knowing too. Like, he said it at a hair salon. Apparently, he said like it
the first time he did say it to me, and he said it to me and Maddi and Siobhan were standing next to me. It was like one night we were closing at Republic, and I was just texting Emmy like, "Yo, you need to come get Will. Like, you need to come pick up Will." Him and Joe were getting into it in the back, just arguing, and then he was just like repeating himself, singing in front of Joe, and I was just like, "Okay, this is not gonna play out well." And
it's just not appropriate.
Yeah, this is months before cameras came. So for me, I was like, okay, this isn't something that we're even gonna have to like worry about. And then the camera showed up, and the one night at work, Lake came up to me and she was like, "I heard something about your friend." And I was like, "Fuck, what'd you hear?" And I was like, "You didn't get to see it, but there was a scene where Brad and Lake and I were in the room and she said it, and I was like, girl, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about." And then she said it to me at the door, and I was like, "What'd I say about drama at work?" She's like, "Keep the drama outside of work." And I was like, exactly.
But I can't do that sometimes, because sometimes when I get the tea, I just like,
it's just spilling out.
I'm gonna hear something. Because I'm sorry, don't tell me. Don't tell me, because
didn't know that I knew. Nobody knew that I knew.
I would text Michols in a heartbeat. I would be like, "You want to hear something funny?"
From across Republic, right? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the worst, because I sit there and I'm like, "Oh, here we go, this fucking can of worms." I never thought I would see the day, and here it is.
So what we're talking about is actually multiple instances of him saying this stuff. Basically, it's not just one night. Okay, which is. On the show, it feels like it's one night that we're talking about. So if it's a repeated thing, that makes it different.
Supposedly happened multiple times. I was just the first time.
Okay. So, and I interviewed Emmy last week, and she acknowledged that part was true, but maybe not what he said. I think that she has a different understanding of what he said, or maybe it's just like choosing to believe certain things. Michols, obviously you and Emmy are still super close. She told me that you guys are like, you're her best friend in the group basically right now. And that puts you in a really difficult position. And I'm curious I'm curious how you read like how she's choosing to take all this information in.
So it's funny that you say that. We don't really have conversations about the TV show.
Okay.
And it's kind of weird. We don't really talk about it. The way we live our lives now is very much like, oh, like, hey, what are you doing today? We go about our days. We talk about our relationships, things going on in our lives. We go to Pilates together almost every day. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of that on social media.
Already have.
Some people in the group shit on me for it. Others don't.
What? What?
I don't know.
That's why he's a Gemini.
Anyway, it's definitely very tricky because I don't know. We just after that conversation was had, and I watched it, and then she watched it. I thought the conversation was going to come across way worse on TV.
Okay.
Thankfully, it didn't. And I mean, she thought the same. For as far as what Will said and what she chooses to believe, that's not really a conversation that we've had, so I don't really know what it is that she believes. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess that will have to be a conversation for the future.
Okay. Because I also interviewed TJ and Brad, and they think that their read on it is that, like, basically she's looking the other way because she wants a certain life. Whether it's when she's very committed to having this life with Will.
She has her 5-year plan. She wants her MRS degree.
And she thinks it's BS because she comes from a privileged background.
From a wealthy family.
But
and I feel like on the show,
I
feel like on the show you don't really get to see that side of her life. Just because, of course, like we only really get to see her and Will and their relationship and then their dynamic within the group.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like this season, now that we're all being able to do press, I feel like it's the first time she's able to be like, hey, I have a voice. Like, I actually come from a wealthy family. Like, I'm not with Will for money. If I were with somebody for money, I wouldn't be dating Will. Is basically how I guess she would put it. I don't know. It's tricky.
Yeah, it is. It's a very tricky situation. You guys are all so interconnected too. I mean, even the fact that you're best friends with Emmy and TJ, it's like you guys are all, I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm like the gatekeeper.
What do you make of how Michols is able to maintain that position in the group?
Well, me and Michols have our talks about that. I tell him, I say, don't be fake.
They're one-sided conversations. I'm getting reamed out.
Well, I mean, I told him not to be fake because, some of us have our certain opinions about Emmy and Will, majority of us. And Michols is very much...
I'm Switzerland.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I'm gonna,
support him no matter what. Right, exactly.
Yes, I'm a supportive queen, but
Literally.
when it comes down to it, I would hope that if there was ever a circumstance between I would hope that, you would choose me over all the other ones.
Oh, we're going there. Okay, we're going there.
My God.
Okay.
Which
Which
I think that would be the case. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to ask about because I feel like, as you said, like that scene, you probably expected it to be a lot worse, that dinner scene. But I 100%. Feel like even with the editing helped you understand that, like, actually, all of you guys had done what you said you would, which was tell them first solo and give them a chance to sort of share their side that way. You checked on whether she was doing okay amid all of this. She said you had not. So, like, I feel like everybody else is kind of doing...
I know the interview
delivering the information in the best possible way.
Because it was like, you can't, like, for me specifically, even in my scenes, you can't go into the confessionals and be like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't, like, the camera doesn't lie, the footage is there.
Right, exactly.
That's, like, with any situation, that's how I always look at it. And if I didn't do that, I'll stand on my shit, but I did.
And she expected to hear that conversation, I feel like.
I just don't think that... I think that she was expecting to hear the conversation. She just would have wanted us to do it when Will was there. but it's so tricky because he had an internship. There was never a good time.
He's never really there.
Yeah, there was never really a good time or place where.
And he's not like at Republic anymore, so like.
Yeah. It was tricky.
Yeah, it's an impossible situation, to be honest. So I think that obviously we're going to see how the rest of the season plays out with this whole situation. And I'm assuming that everybody's going to have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously another allegation that comes down the pipeline about him. I don't really know what it is. Do you think that Will has? Do you think Will that has stepped out on his relationship with Emmy?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. Blake?
What?
Do you think he stepped out on his relationship with Emmy? Like if he's cheated or anything?
We got a shrug.
I feel like
I don't know.
She gave you her answer.
Okay.
I don't know. I know people.
Okay.
And
I'm picking up what you're putting down, Lake. I think. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
I don't know their relationship well enough. Like I don't know what they talk about behind closed doors. I don't know what she puts up with, but I don't know.
Right. And I guess that when you get down to it, it's like, I mean, you both talked about sort of your expectations when it comes to like romantic connections and what you expect of the other person. And everyone has different expectations and standards and things. And so like, ultimately you can't change people's minds when it comes to this,
Yeah.
For me, I'm just like, I'm 22, I'm running a fucking club, I'm in school, on a TV show now, managing my fucking life. I don't put up with shit.
Yeah.
I don't have the time and the energy.
I'm not worried about you.
Yeah, it's like come correct or don't come at all.
Right. Okay, the rest of the season, what I'm personally looking forward to the most, I think, is the Vegas trip, because I can only imagine this group going to Vegas. Just feels like a recipe for mess, fantastic TV, all the above. What can I expect from your time in Vegas?
A lot of drama, a lot of long dinner tables.
A lot of
alcohol.
Uneaten food.
Yes.
It's very Housewives coded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For the amount of food that like we ordered and stuff, and then we were just like
fighting the whole time.
It was just bad.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good time. We had fun.
There were some fun moments.
Yeah.
You'll get to see play out.
Yeah. Lots of good tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Mia gonna fully rejoin the group after her beauty pageant is now done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you will get to see some Mia finally.
Okay.
I love Mia.
Yeah, which is so exciting. We love her. She's a doll.
Yes, she's perfect. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she knows how to spill the tea too, Lake. So maybe you guys can team up.
Yes. No, Mia is loud, and she is very outgoing, and so whenever something gets to her, it's like, okay.
Yep. She came to collect.
Right. Mm-hmm. And one of the last questions for you two, Joe and Maddi finally getting together. There was a kind of always like a will they won't they thing with them, and you guys must have entered the fray sort of around the time when it flipped into romance with them. What was it like sort of witnessing that change?
When their relationship was coming to life, it's kind of funny because, Maddi lives at the Islands house. They had just gotten back from filming their reunion in New York for season 2. And I was hanging out with them. It was after work. We were after partying. And I go upstairs and I hear smooching. And I'm standing in the hallway and I'm like, who the fuck is making out right now? And I go to step and the floor creaks. And Maddi and Joe just come out of the room running and their faces are red. And I go, I know you guys are making out in there. And Joe sits me down and he goes, when two people love each other.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh.
Joe, come on. I die.
I love them together.
Yeah,
me too.
Two peas in a pod. Joe is so obsessed with Maddi.
Yes. And he's been obsessed with her forever. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, and it's fun to see him actually be with somebody that he loves and cares about.
Yeah.
And Maddie's just nonchalant. She's like, I love Joe.
Yeah. But you could see it with at Lake at your house when he got that concussion. I think that in that moment she actually realized
she was crying.
I care for him more than I even realized. Basically, she was so worried about him, and that was kind of really sweet to see.
It was really sweet, and they both care about each other so much, and we see it as a group, and as an audience, I feel like the people see it too.
Totally. All right, so obviously we're still very early in the season. I feel like we have like a season worth of content already that we just talked about, but there's clearly a lot more to come.
A lot more.
Yeah.
There's like new storylines every episode. It's crazy.
Yes.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Are you, but the show did get a reunion last season, so I'm assuming we're gonna get a reunion this season. How are you two approaching the idea of that? Are you like making a list and checking it twice, gearing up for whenever that day comes, or that's a daunting task?
Study up.
Okay.
Watch your TV.
A lot of people in the group like to tell me that I'm going to be the one that has the most to answer for at the reunion. I personally don't think so, but we'll just have to see when the time comes. But I think it's going to be a bloodbath.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like being the person who's in the middle, you just have to hold that ground at the reunion.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to pull you apart. You know what I mean?
If I crash out over coffee, imagine how I'll do in a room with everybody. So.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I hope there's a Starbucks gift card waiting for you in your hair and makeup room.
Oh
that
my
day.
God.
So. Oh my God. Well, Lake and Michaels, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad I got some time with you two. I'm loving watching you on this show, and just good luck for the rest of this run, because I hope it's a fun ride for both of you.
It was a pleasure.
Yes,
thank you
so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Of course. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good one.
I want to gab.